How many of you have children? Wouldn't it be fair to say that each child is a lesson? Sometimes by what they say, sometimes by what they do, sometimes just who they are. We have 3 children. Everyone's different, and our son there on the right has autism. I don't know if you know much about autism. In the autism community, they say, once you've seen one person with autism, you've seen one person with autism. Austin loves The Simpsons, 1980s cars, Michael J. Fox, and American Airlines. And if you ever get a chance to talk to him, he would love to tell you about those things over and over and over and over. He has a great sense of humor. He drives. He passed his driving test the first time, after some late night secret things through the neighborhood. His sister, over there on the other side, on the left side, Allison, failed hers twice. One day, Allison has some of her friends over, and Austin says, Elmer, Allison failed her driver's test twice. Now, you can imagine how this went over with Allison. So she's steaming. I thought I would do a real-time intervention, a little bit of coaching. Austin, you cannot talk about your driver's test. You can only talk about yours, you can't talk about hers. Elmer, in my driver's test, I didn't back over a yard. Gotta love him. But Nate, make no mistake, he has lots of challenges socially with communications. He's never been called up by a friend. He's never been invited to a party. He'll never marry, and he'll likely never be able to find a full-time job. But his gift to me has been an infinite amount of patience, and not to sweat the little things, and to see past the obvious, to see a complete and wonderful young man who surprises me every day. And one thing I've learned about parents of children with disability, no matter how different we are, we share the same wish: to live one day longer than our child, because we know what's waiting. Irish poet Sean Haney wrote an adaptation of an ancient Greek play about the Trojan War, and in it he talks about how the disappointments of the past will keep repeating over and over again throughout history until something intervenes. And to illustrate, he tells the story of Philoctetes, a warrior who's disabled and abandoned until his comrades remember that he has this magic bow that they need to defeat Troy. And they find him and they restore him. And this is where he writes this beautiful passage. History tells us not to hope on this side of the grave, but then once in a lifetime, a longed-for tidal wave of justice can rise up, and hope and history rhyme. So hope for a great sea change, and believe that a further shore is reachable from here. Believe in miracles and cures and healing wells. And it was in that same spirit, almost 10 years ago, we began to design a new generation of distribution center that was going to be the most modern of its kind, most automated, and the most cost-efficient in America. And at the same time, we wanted to use the automation in such a way that we could employ a large number of people with disabilities. Now, being ever mindful that we are a business, not a charity, we weren't going to lower any of our performance standards. We wanted to create a sustainable model that we could hold up to our shareholders and hopefully to the business community as an example. So we started out saying we wanted to have people with disabilities, without disabilities, doing the same job, earning the same pay, working side by side. And taking the advice of legendary Chicago builder Daniel Burnham, who said, "Make no small plans, for they fail to stir men's blood," we aimed high. 1 out of 3 people would be a person with a disability, something that's never been done. And off we went. Not trying to figure out every circumstance, not trying to solve every problem, but know that we would make mistakes and learn along the way. And what we discovered is that these are our most productive centers in the history of our company, with a culture of teamwork like we've never seen, and some terrific employees, like Angie. Angie is a terrific HR manager we have who has cerebral palsy, who made straight A's as undergraduate and in graduate school, sent out 300 resumes, 30 interviews, not a single job offer. Or people like Harrison. Harrison came out of the school system, has autism, worked a year in a training center just for the chance to apply. And he's one of our top performers that we move around to different departments when they're getting behind to help catch them up. Or Daryl. Daryl is a 50-something with mental retardation who's one of our highest performers who'd never had a job. And he took his first paycheck home and he came back the next day and asked his supervisor, "Why did my mom cry?" And there are hundreds just like them, and we're fortunate to have them. We set out to change the workplace. What we found out was that we were the ones who were changed. And working with people with such obvious differences, what we found out that we're more alike than we are different. That brokenness is just a matter of degree. Some of us can hide it better than others. That there is no them, just us. We learned that the satisfaction of our own success does not compare to making somebody else successful. And as a result, we became more engaged, better listeners, more supportive, treating each person as an individual and drawing on their strengths. And these were skills that extended beyond the workplace to our homes, how we treat our families, how we treat our friends, given that benefit of the doubt, even to the occasional jerk who pulls out in front of us in traffic. It made us better. But something else we discovered along the way. We discovered it was not about the technology, that we could extend this across the United States to all 20 centers, where today we have over 1,000 people with disabilities working. And we've just changed that goal to 2,000. And not just in distribution centers. Within 90 days, we're going to roll this out nationwide, a nationwide launch, in all 227 districts, 8,000 stores and communities across America. The data's in. We've been at this business for over 5 years. The data's been vetted and published. People with disabilities are just as productive, no difference in performance. Retention is better, absenteeism is less, people with disabilities work safer. We've opened our doors to other employers to come see for themselves that yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. We offer workshops out on the shop floor for days for other companies to learn what we've learned and perhaps take it home to their place. Many companies have come and as a result have launched their own initiatives. People always ask, what was the hardest thing? What was the biggest barrier? Well, it was more difficult in the deciding to do it than it was in the doing it. It's the same barrier that stands in the way of every great endeavor. Fear. Fear of failure. Fear of being punished. The clinging to the illusory security of the status quo. I know fear. Fear has kept me quiet when I should have spoken. It's kept me still when I should have acted. Fear makes us small. It's easy to say, I'm just one person. What difference can I make? About 6 years ago, I was out west, and I met a man who shines shoes for a living, and he's changing the California penal system. And the reason I know that because as he was working, he pulled out this notebook and it had these newspaper and magazine clippings of events and rallies and him testifying before the California state legislature. And I went home and I Googled him. 697 references. Last week, 5,400 references. A person who shines shoes for a living, whose office is a shoe shine stand. I'm just one person. What difference can it make? Now, for those of us who have been engaged in this is the most meaningful work of our lives. And we've found as much joy in the journey as it has been in the outcome. This has certainly required our best. It's demanded our best. But we have been rewarded with satisfaction and delight. And more importantly, it has reminded us every day, to never forget that we can be those miracles, cures, and healing wells. Thank you.